boxing on Channel 5. Defending his name, his legacy, Harlem Eubank. Battling his way up the super lightweight rankings. Can he remain undefeated? Big Fight Live, Eubank versus Usyk, Friday at 10 on Channel 5.
This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Alex, you're always in London now. You must be doing a lot of air miles.
Well, it seems to me that I'm like in my native city, my second native city. By the way, the first time I appeared here in London, I had this feeling that this is the first city out of Ukraine that I feel like at home.
It's good to hear. Yeah, last time you were in the UK, obviously negotiating for Fury-Usyk. I heard yesterday that you were with George Warren. Negotiations have begun for Usyk and Dubois. So how's that going?
It's going well. We are now working out the opportunities, the way the fight can be organized. One of the options is the UK, Manchester or London, or any other opportunity for. Stop shouting this shit.
That was Derek Chisora. Sorry, Alex. Sorry, we're back on. Go on.
How you doing?
I'm alright. How are you doing?
Not bad.
I need to keep that microphone away from you. Don't want to go any nearer.
So, how we doing? You fight Daniel Dubois?
Not me.
Usyk?
Yeah, probably yes, because he has to comply with the mandatory.
Where? But a copper box?
No idea. And yourself? You fighting White?
Yeah, if White wants it, I'll fuck him up.
Really?
Yeah. I'll fuck you up too if you want.
No. You are too strong for everyone.
My fight is on the stage and I'm not even on stage. What the fuck?
Okay. Alex, I think you're the only man in this, well, probably in London. Derek could say, I'm going to F you up, and you're still smiling.
Why shouldn't we smile? I mean, there's no reason for not smiling. The sun is up. I mean, it's raining, but it's still good. You have air to breathe. You are alive. You woke up this morning. It's got so many reasons to be happy.
Fair enough, Alex. Okay, so the last we heard from you publicly with Frank Warren was obviously on the Talk Sport call. After that call, I know you guys said you were going to jump on another call privately because he didn't want to discuss on air about the fight. Did that phone call take place, and what was said?
Yeah, we had the phone, and we waited until Igor Klimas wakes up in LA. I put guys on conference call, and we just announced that the fight is off. So there's no way to make it happen this time, because Usyk is supposed to leave the training camp. He doesn't trust the fight gonna take place. So we just put our pens down, and not pens but pencils. Let us.
Okay. From what I heard on Mother's Day on the conference call on the Sunday, everything was ironed out bar the rematch clause split. So when you jumped on that phone call with Frank or Aegis, whoever jumped on after the Talk Sport call, why didn't you give it one last push maybe? How come you guys were out at that point?
I've done one on the day before with George, because we discussed already the possibility of the split for the rematch. We realized that Tyson would not move from 50-50 split, and this is completely unsatisfactory for Usyk. But you know, this is not the real reason for the fight not happening. I mean, it's just a point where it all blew up, and when you have the cumulative stuff just coming, and it's getting bigger, and at some point you just get overloaded with it. That's what happened with Usyk. He said, "Listen, it's so complicated. I mean, I want it so badly, but it's just not likely to happen." If we we agreed on everything. I mean, agreed means compromise on everything. If we compromise again, something else gonna come up that we would have to compromise. Let's have dignity. Let's stay away from it. If it doesn't happen now, we just we have the position. The position is unified champion. What can be done? Okay, let's go with the mandatories. I have to comply with it. I mean, I had this obligation. So Dubois, Hrgovic, whatever. I will go through it, and at some point I will get a chance to negotiate for the undisputed again.
I mean, that's 3 mandatories in Dubois, Hrgovic and Joyce. You're looking at next year then, Alex, if Usyk stays unbeaten for undisputed.
But it doesn't mean he has to go all 3 in a row. It means that the undisputed fight or the unification fight, it always stands higher than the mandatory. And every sanctioning body has it in the rules. So whatever happens after he fights Dubois and he's successful, we can come back and try to make the undisputed. And if by that time Tyson Fury is still the champ, then we will have to renegotiate the deal.
Alex, let me just ask you about claims from Frank. He said that whilst you were negotiating, Alexander went from Turkey in his training camp back to Kiev, and obviously it's a no-fly zone for obvious reasons over Ukraine. So he would have, in his words, in Frank's words, he would have to get a train from Poland to Kiev, I think he said, which is 10 hours. So I think he's putting the impression out there that whilst you were negotiating, Usyk's already sacked his camp off.
Yeah, with all my respect, I have to make a correction, because Usyk left the camp after we cancelled the negotiations and after it went public. He took a plane from Antalya to Warsaw, and then he took a car from Warsaw to Kiev. So, but it didn't happen the day that Frank mentioned. It happened 2 days after.
And in terms of that rematch clause split, the 50-50, obviously your argument is if Tyson's getting 70-30 in the first fight, then we want the reverse to the winner in the second fight. But when you're conceding a guy's that much of an A side, as you accepted the 70-30 split, is it not uncommon then to fully reverse that split in the rematch? Is that not uncommon?
I tell you, we didn't see him that A side when we accepted 70-30. We accepted 70-30 for one reason, because it was the first time we heard any demand from Tyson Fury. So we tried to grab this chance, because before that it was only negotiated, because we've actually negotiated. The first offer that came from their side was 50-50 on everything, and then the discussion on the split of the gate. So even 60-40 was not discussed. We offered 60-40, and the winner takes a bigger share, which was also quite fair, because if you're a better fighter, you win and you get your bigger share.
So their team refused 60-40 in the first fight, is that what you're saying?
Say it again?
So their team, as in Fury and Frank, they refused 60-40 in the first fight, is that true?
Yes, they refused 60-40 in the first fight. My initial offer, when they came up with and asked for the rematch, we completely agreed, because the rematch has to be in such a fight. And my initial proposal was that we put both fights on 50-50. Whatever happens, both fighters are secured. They don't need to care about money, they need to care about boxing. So it wasn't accepted either. But to my understanding, that would be the easiest way to make it. 50-50, 2 fights. But come on, if it's 50-50 first fight, there is no need actually to fight for the second time.
I saw some comments from yourself yesterday where you're saying don't blame Tyson Fury. How comes you're saying that? Because from what you guys are saying, it seems like it's on him where this deal got ruined.
I didn't say don't blame Tyson Fury. I said stop hating. Stop hating Tyson Fury. Stop putting pressure on him. He is the man like any one of us. He has the right to decide what to do with the belt that belongs to him. It's up to him to make the decision and to carry responsibility for his decision. But the fact that this fight doesn't take place does not, and we are unhappy about it. All of us, we are not happy. We are disappointed about it. But this fact does not give us the reason to hate him, to put pressure on him, because he has the family, he has 6 kids, he's expecting the 7th kid, he has friends, he has everyone around him. And this, the fact that our want, our desire is not satisfied does not mean that people around him have to suffer. So that's why I ask, and I keep asking boxing fans, don't put that pressure on him. He's the champion. He's the boss here in the UK. He's the WBC heavyweight champion. So people know him, people love him, people follow him. That's why Why should he at some point become the enemy for all the boxing?
I think people like to blame someone, don't they?
Yes, and that's why I appeal to people with a request to stop blaming anyone, just to enjoy the boxing as it is and try to wait a little bit. Maybe one day this fight gonna take place.
That's very classy of you. Do you think Saudi Arabia will come back in for this?
You never know, because it might be, it might not be. We had some talks for the end of the year, but by that time Tyson Fury has to remain the champion. Usyk has to remain the champion, and we have to make all the arrangements that's gonna be satisfying for each side. And at some point, when the contract is signed, we can say, yeah, we are much closer to this fight than we ever been before.
What do you make of their argument where it's like, even if you had boxed us for 70-30 and 50-50, you would have made more money than you are against Dubois, Hrgovic and Joyce combined? Is that true?
I can state you that it's not complicated to make the calculation, because let's say Tyson Fury, his fight with Chisora. If you make the calculation of the revenue that was received, it's not complicated to make it. You just have the amount of pay-per-views. You multiply it on its price, you extract taxes and the share that is paid to the TV station, the provider. Then you add the gate and the hospitality, you add the sponsors and worldwide TV rights, and you see the budget. So you just make the calculation and you see what is the real money that was received by the champ.
They said they were offering, Usyk ESPN money, as in American TV rights on pay-per-view, something that Usyk hasn't had before in America on pay-per-view. So do you have to take that into the equation, or was there not much money in that?
When we discussed the fight itself, we realized that it has some certain sources of revenue, of income. And the biggest one is the UK TV on pay-per-view. The second biggest probably gonna be the pay-per-view in the United States. But if you ask, let's say Bob Arum, what's gonna be the figure, he will not guarantee you. He can anticipate based on the past, but he cannot guarantee whether it's gonna be good or bad. So it's just, that's why in promotions, you hear so many times the share, the upside, rather than the guarantee, because promoter cannot anticipate sharply what's going to be happening.
Okay, fair enough. So back to Usyk Dubois. Have the WBA determined the split yet? Normally it's 75-25, but obviously he's a regular champion, Daniel. So is there a chance it might increase to 30 or not?
The WBA rules says absolutely with no space for discussions. It says if a super champion is fighting the mandatory, the split is 75-25, even if the challenger is the champion.
Let's clarify that one then. Do you think you will reach a deal with George Warren, or will it go to purse bids in your opinion?
The good thing about purse bid is that it gives you, it's like an instrument that gives you the light at the end of the tunnel when your negotiations are stuck, like the ones we had with Tyson Fury. You still have the fight happening because you go to the purse bid, and the one who wins, who bids more, makes the fight.
So I take it from that he's going to go to purse bids rather than a deal being reached.
It depends on how our negotiations go. We are reasonable people, so we will do our best to find the solution. And if we don't find it, doesn't mean we are enemies. It means we are about to get the best for our fighters. And if we are not satisfied, we have the opportunity to sort it out on the purse bid.
And lastly, just to close off, out of the three mandatories, Dubois, Hrgovic and Joyce, I mean, Usyk might not box all of them, but if he does, who's the toughest one in your opinion? I'm guessing you're going to say Joe Joyce.
The question is, who is the toughest?
Yeah, for Usyk.
Yeah, Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is the toughest. But this man,
you know, motherfucker, you're still on the fucking thing. You like, are you famous? Get the fuck out of here, man. He's still here, man. I've been around. What the fuck?
I can't figure out if he's being friendly with you or not.
Who? Derek? Of course he is.
So yeah, Joe Joyce is the toughest for Usyk, you believe?
Yes, Joe Joyce is the toughest for Usyk, and Joe Joyce is the toughest for everyone. If Joe Joyce fights Tyson Fury, I would put my bet on Joyce. That's not because I don't respect Tyson Fury. That's because I think that Joe Joyce can be really harmful and can do some real severe damage to the guy.
Alex, before Derek Chisora comes back, I'll let you go. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Enjoy London.
It was my pleasure.
Refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,